With Season of the Sickness to Kevlar, you also collaborate. You got Phonk Beta on Smoke, and of course, people know him from Loaded and some of the other stuff. What, because that album, through our last interview, you said, you weren't sure about that one or was a mistake or different things. But how and why do you and Phonk Beta do you think work so well together and still do?
Well, we met when he was 14, I was 15. And like the reason um I put the song on the album is because it's a Loaded type song and he produced the album Loaded. You know what I mean? I did little stuff on it, but he produced mostly of that and Black Market owns it. So I wanted to bring Funk Beta back a little bit of Loaded shine and stuff because that's where he became known as a producer. So um and we've known each other. I've known him for longer than I've known my dad. So it's like we know what we like and what we don't like. So that's how it's easy for us to work together and click. Oh man, he just I wish I could push play, but he has a beat on for the next project right now on this drum machine that I'm about to write to. So we just work good together. It's just I don't know what it is.
Okay. And then on Smoke has some of my favorite wordplay on Season of Sickness 2 Kevlar because in particular there's a Isley Brothers reference, there's a Ray Rice reference.
Mm-hmm.
So uh definitely doing them in unexpected ways. So throughout Season of Sickness 2 Kevlar, there's also a lot of football references. So I wanted you to break down why is football such a big theme on this album.
Well, for one, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, being from California. I want Dallas to get one before Jerry passes. So I always talk about my Dallas Cowboys. Just a lot of my raps don't come out, on record or nothing, but almost every rap I got something about the Dallas Cowboys in it. So they just got to get one before Jerry passes away. You know what I mean? And that's what I push for. So that brings up the sports references, and I love sports. Like I got some Kobe stuff that I've done in the past and stuff like that. So I love sports and horror movies. That's who I am.
Okay. And another recurring theme throughout Season of Sickness 2 Kevlar is Bane, the Batman character that seems to be a prominent figure, or at least an inspired by him prominently. So
Mm-hmm.
why did he factor into the making of Season of the Sickness 2 Kevlar?
Well, in season one, I talked to the devil, but I'm atheist, so I changed him to someone else that I talked to. And we really haven't really gotten into the story yet. I wasn't able to get the whole story out with him, so I'm gonna bring him back later.
Okay. And
Right
with
now, we just met.
and with that idea, is that something that came to you during the making of Kevlar, or was that something you
It
had
was
before?
right smack in the middle of making Kevlar. A friend of mine called me, and he did all this with his iPhone on his with his iPhone with just his voice in a uh, storage type room. So it was really natural. So I said, "Hey man, let's bring back the devil." And he said, "Well, I'll do it." I said, "But this time I don't want him to be, the devil. I want him to bring somebody else." He did the voice and send it to me over the phone. I listened to it and I liked it. And I just told him, and I didn't give him any lines. I just said, "We just meet for this album." And then he did it all and sent it, and I used it.
No, I definitely think it adds a nice element to Kevlar. So I'm glad you guys did that, and I'm interested to see where it goes from here. So definitely everybody should check that out. Um, and to me, the most surprising feature on Kevlar is Ill with Swifty McVeigh from D12. So how and why was he somebody that you wanted to put on here?
Well, D12 has always been, I mean, Swift from D12 has always been one of my favorite rappers on D12. You know what I mean? I've already had worked with the big guy.
Bizarre.
Yeah, we did a couple songs together. And he was always my favorite rapper. That's the dude I always wanted to do a song with. So I was on my Instagram. He liked one of my posts. And I was like, what? I didn't even know he knew who I was. So I hit him on DM. He hit me right back. Said, let's get one in, man. And I sent him a beat and he did his verse to the beat. But I ended up changing the beat. So when he hears it, it's gonna be a little shock to him though. But the beat is tighter
Okay.
than it was when I sent it to him.
And what made you want to change it?
It wasn't dark enough for me and him because when he sent his stuff, I was like, whoa, I didn't even know he's gonna come dark like this. So I wanted to change the he inspired that song period.
Yeah, I was
So
very surprised by his lyrics on there.
yeah, me too. When I got him, I was like, wait a minute, I gotta change the music on this. It was a little more happy the first one.
Oh wow. Okay. And another thing that I thought was interesting with Kevlar is toward the second half slash the end of the album, I'd say there's a lot of and not that there's not in the first half, but the second half, I think there's a lot of stories and commentary that's I think a little heavier on the second half of the album. Did it just end up that way, or is that the plan?
Yeah, I wanted to put the songs to my neighborhood, those type of songs at the end of the album. I don't know why, but I usually do um, put the more calmer songs at the end of the album, unless I was with Strange. You know what I mean? But if you notice from every album, even Season calms down at the end. You know what I mean? And I didn't know what I was doing with 24 Deep, so I can't really say how that ended, but I kind of adopted that
Hmm.
throughout my career.
It's definitely a theme, which is why I was curious about it because it does it's to me it was always the stories, not only were good throughout, but I think some of the more story-driven ones that are great are also found at the end of the albums, which I think generally speaking is unusual. So, like, for instance, Southside toward the end is very autobiographical and talks about the block and all this other type of stuff. But what that song in particular, what made you want to address that on Kevlar?
Well, I've been away from my neighborhood for so long. I wanted them to know, you know, I'm still here. You know what I mean? And then when I first moved back here to Sacramento just to come record the album, I went through the neighborhood and everything's just so different. And even though I didn't talk about everything being different, I wanted to bring up the good times, our so-called good times that we had before the money, before the rapping and stuff like that. With a lot of it. I mean, mentions of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
And it kind of just making a song about it will remind some of my guys, you know, about those times.
Okay. Gotcha. And then Grrr, I was excited to hear that. So first of all, how and why do you remember coming up with that as kind of like your sound or your one of your mottos or catchy things for you?
Well, it all came from my teeth, the growling and how my teeth were like animalish. It came from my teeth. But the reason why I made the song is a no-name guy I'm not going to bring up. He took that from me, and now he has these extravagant once-a-year yacht parties with that name. And I wanted to send a message like to him too, like, that's still my girl. That's my word. In the rap game, in the music genre, that's my word. Now, I just sent that message to him. He'll get it. Nobody else will.